Hi, my name is Shelby Klingon, and my purpose of this speech is to inform the audience on how pollution affects animals, food, the people around us, while also discussing the three different forms of pollution. So, we're all aware of pollution and that there are three different types, and those types are ocean pollution, land, and air. Each of these types involves the earth to be dirty and filled with chemicals that can affect everything around us. John Holdren, author of the book American Scientist, stated that there are direct damages to humans through pollution, which can involve the disruption of health, goods and services, social disruption, and the quality of life. This all means that we can get sick from pollution, crops can die, buildings can decay, jobs can be created where people need to move away and mine the materials, and the noise and litter can be extremely unsettling. So firstly, I would like to talk about water pollution, then land, and then air. And I will be informing how each of these affects the ecosystem that lives there and how it relates back to affecting us as humans. So now I'm first going to get into ocean pollution and why it's harmful. As people, we obviously don't live in the ocean, so it can seem like using the ocean to dispose of waste would not be a big deal, but that's not the case. Since the ocean takes in a bunch of CO2, which we need it to, if there's already too many gases in there, it will not be able to consume as much, which would leave more in the air, which is extremely harmful to our health. Oscar Shader, the author of the American Journal of International Law, discussed that some marine pollutants maintain their chemical integrity for decades, even centuries. This meaning that the chemicals that are in the ocean can stay there for hundreds of years. So the marine life down there would be consuming plants and other animals, and then when we eat seafood, we would be consuming those chemicals as well, which is extremely harmful. So I have this little graph which just shows plastic debris in the ocean. It starts at 2015 and goes to what they would predict of 2025. And as you can tell, it just keeps increasing. It gets to about 175 tons is what's predicted of plastic to be in the ocean. So now that I've discussed the disappointing factors involved with ocean pollution, I'm going to acknowledge pollution on land. On land is where animals, ecosystems, buildings, food, and we are all located. And we've all experienced, seeing a wrapper on the ground or like garbage, like when we're driving or we're taking a walk. But buildings in busy cities have also started to get decay due to the exhaust from cars and factories. So it's becoming a bigger deal than it used to be. And when we throw garbage away, we just assume that it magically disappears, but it doesn't do that. It sits in a landfill, and in that landfill, it's all together and it's creating these chemicals and these gases that are just sitting and being released. And so we're running out of places to put our garbage because it's not safe for the environment to keep it just sitting in a pile, but it's not safe for it to sink in the ocean. Since you are more informed on land pollution, I would like to discuss the ways that air pollution affects everything around us. So pollution within the air is very harmful to all species because animals, plants, and humans take in oxygen to survive. Maureen Cropper, author of the American Journal of Agricultural Economics, discussed that sulfur dioxide in the air has damaging effects on humans, such as premature death and increases in heart and lung disease. It also is extremely bad for people with asthma. So a relationship with air pollution is the growing extent of global warming and climate change. These gases being released into the air creates food consumption issues, damage to plants, extinction of animals, and iceberg melting. I've mentioned all my main points, and I would like to end with a summary of what I covered. So all three of these different types of pollution that I mentioned are harmful to the environment. And it can seem kind of scary hearing all of these things, but it's important to be aware of what's happening. But there are some small ways that every person can help to contribute. You can volunteer to pick up trash, you can carpool with your friend or ride your bike places instead of using your car. You can grow your own garden. You can just do little things like that to help the earth and dirty it less. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something useful.